Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! Oh, it's a beautiful, rainy, cold, miserable, and disgusting Monday. But that changes nothing, my friends, because we are back at it. Ready to kick some tail. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Welcome you all back to your week. I don't know what the heck I just did there. I'm touching stuff. Anyway, I'm actually cold. I'm wearing a hoodie. I don't even like hoodies, but I'm wearing this one because I actually look kind of good in it. It's one of my favorite hoodies. In fact, now that I look at it, I have one hoodie that Craig gave me. I've got another hoodie that Roseanne, she got me two hoodies. I don't really wear them all that much. But this hoodie, this one I bought, I've always loved this particular hoodie. I'm going to wear my Depeche Mode t-shirt underneath. Sing a little Depeche Mode earlier today. But it's Monday, and a lot of stuff is going on. A lot of stuff over the weekend. I received a weird message from someone requesting to come on the show. I'm not familiar with this person, but it was just weird. I'll maybe talk about it later. Some things going on politically. I want to thank Janine again for all of the hard work working on our debate coming up on April 30th. We are confirmed. We are at Stadium 15. So we got Stadium 15. We have the debate. Letters are going out this week. Those letters are going to Betsy McCoy, to Aaron Stewart, and to Ryan Fazio for that date. And I believe 7 o'clock, we're having that debate. I'm going to work on some questions with the fellas. That's Brian Shackman as well as Morgan Cunningham and myself. We'll come up with some questions. Those of you who are in the business field, you entrepreneur, if you own a company and you would like to be our special guest and submit business questions to this debate, contact me. Just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com, which, by the way, is new and improved. New and improved. Spent the whole weekend working on her by myself because I don't have a staff. I was reading some great stuff about Rush Limbaugh and about his show prep thing, and I was inspired by reading him today. And I get these clips that show up in my feed now and again with Rush talking to people about certain things, and I love hearing his voice. It takes me back. And he inspires me every time I hear his voice or I read something about him. So anyway, I'm digressing. Want to talk about Chris Murphy today. I've got to talk about him. I've got to talk about Connecticut Democrats today. We got to talk about the right to vote in this country, much less in this state. Apparently, there's a problem. We can't seem to figure out what's more important. $100 worth of Coke and Pepsi cans or the right to vote with the proper identification. I don't know, but Connecticut seems to be concerned about that. I wrote an op-ed piece about it. If you'd like to read that, you can also go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com and subscribe to my Substack. A lot of people were reading it yesterday, and thank you for the kind words, those of you who enjoyed it. We will talk about that today as well. We found another welfare program Connecticut is funding. It's like they seem to be very eager to pay for stuff, which doesn't make any sense because if the thing isn't making any money and it's supposed to actually, get a revenue stream, right? Imagine the government funding something that has to maintain a revenue of its own in order to exist. And so the government makes it free. It's insane, but hey, we're in Connecticut. It's the reason why we got to get rid of this leadership. So we'll talk about that as well. But I saw something that I thought that I'd save for later. And it bothered me a little bit. But I have been preaching about this since I was a young person. Some people would say when I was younger, oh, that Reese, he's got an old soul. And I would go, I mean, I guess, but I don't really think it's about having an old soul. I think it's just about recognizing what is. I would call it being, perceptive. When older folks see something in me and say something like that, oh, he's got an old soul, I kind of felt like that was dismissive. Not in a bad way. I just went, it's just making light of the fact that I'm perceptive. When I grew up, my grandfather would say, boy, ain't nothing new under the sun. Now, the reason why my grandfather would say that to me is because I was always walking around like the world was crashing on me, and the problem I was dealing with was I was the only person who was dealing with that. Atlas shrugged. I was the one walking around with that burden. Woe is me. Oh, woe is me. And my grandfather would say, boy, are you kidding me? Ain't nothing new under the sun. You ain't dealing with nothing that we all haven't dealt with. And in him instilling that in me, I started to recognize. After getting around, talking to people, sure enough, people had the answer. All I do was open my mouth. Oh, I'm dealing with this. And that's the problem with us young people. When we were young, we never sought out advice. Right? It took us, when we got much, much older to realize, hey, the old man's right. Hey, Mom was right about that. Takes us a while, but when we're young, we got the answer to it all. But some people figure it out early. And because when I was 15, I wanted to be 55, I paid attention. Nothing new is under the sun. So when I was in my 20s living in Greenwich Village, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all the kids were wearing bell-bottom pants. Now, I didn't grow up in the era of bell-bottom pants. I'm born in 69. When I was old enough, the 80s were around. The 70s, maybe butterfly collars. Night Fever was playing on the radio. But the bottom line is that I knew that was my mom's era. But just 22, 23 years removed, bell-bottom pants are back. And first thing I said was, damn, have we run out of fashion ideas? How lazy is this? We're just going to reach back and act like these folks weren't the ones who invented it? What kind of ripoff is that? I felt bad for my mother's generation. Look at us walking around with butterfly collars. All of a sudden, afros are back in style. I felt like, hey, come on. See, I was from the hip-hop era, and those of you who are not familiar with the early hip-hop era, we had a term called biting. Let me explain that. Biting means you're copying someone else. That was a bad thing. You can't bite off of someone else's idea. You have to be original. Originality was important to us in the hip-hop world. We didn't even believe in doing remakes. Because you can't, that's biting. So I, being a young, impressionable person who knew, never steal another person's idea and pretend it's yours or act like, I didn't see that. You don't bite. But I realized, damn, we've run out of ideas. We have to go backwards. We can't think on our own. We can't be inventive. We've lost it. We've got no moxie. You guys might remember that we tried to do Woodstock Part 2. Remember that? That was another thing that I went, what? I'm born the day before Woodstock, August 14th, 1969. Woodstock was the 15th, 16th, and 17th. When I heard they were doing Woodstock, was it 20 years later? First thing I said was, no. What are we biting for? Let them have their thing. We're not going to recreate that. And boy, did you see the reports? God-awful mess that thing was. Should have never touched it. Made Firefest look like a resort. Nonetheless, I move on. So I turn the page today, and I see an article in the New York Post. And it says a headline that I thought was wild. Because there's no way it's gotten this bad, right? That this generation is so without ideas that this headline would exist. Smoking is cool again. Here's what you need to know. What? I am not kidding. Smoking is cool again. Here's what you need to know. Why is it cool again? Because apparently they're throwing cigarettes back into television and movies. And the wild part is they're showing an awful lot of girls doing it. Because they've run out of stuff. Smoking is one of those things. Now, I didn't quit smoking because, the obvious reasons. It's bad for your health. It makes your breath stink. It smells horrible on your clothes. I just wanted to quit something. I quit drinking, and I said, I think I could quit smoking. Took me 2 years after I quit drinking, but I figured it out. And I'm here now, 5 years. Just celebrated. 5 years, no cigarettes. But again, not for any health reason. It was a habit I wanted to break. I wasn't pressured by a doctor, nothing. I just knew I'd be healthier if I did it. And you know what? I was sick and tired of being stuck on a vice. But now these kids, they have found nothing new. They can't create anything. There's nothing authentic, nothing original about any of them. Or at least not anything that's positive or beneficial. I mean, we watched last week, we talked about it. In the stupidest thing I read today, we found out that kids are inhaling glitter. It made the Tide Pod era look ridiculous by comparison. Glitter inhaling? They are running off the deep end to define themselves. And they've exhausted every idea. Promiscuity, polyamory. They even started changing genders. Remember there were 72 or 85 of them? Now that's rescinded in the last 2 years. What happened? It's like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out. Let's just go back to smoking. We gotta do something. No one is noticing us. And they've reduced it to smoking. Hey, I've got an idea. Gen Y, let me help you out here. Listen. I've got an idea. Okay? Seriously. It's been a while. I think enough time has passed that we can bring something back. Cigarettes. You want to bring back cigarettes? Look. Let's go. Let's just go there. Let's just all do crack. Just get back to it. Just crack rocks. Let's just go. What are we waiting for? Huh? You know what's going to happen soon. The crack rocks are coming back. Huh? What do they call them? The jums, the yellow tops? There's some people in the audience that know exactly what I'm talking about. I never sold crack or used crack, but I know a little bit of the vernacular. But come on, let's just get back to it. Let's just get back. I mean, gonorrhea made a comeback. VD made a comeback. Chlamydia made a comeback. I mean, hell, they're doing that down in the villages. Let's just bring all of it back. You've run out of ideas. Let's go. But here we are. Smoking is cool again. Here's what you need to know. I can't believe a headline starts like that. And the crazy part is, this is wild, right? So they start the article. If you go check it out, I want you to read it if you feel like it. It's in the New York Post. On FX's widely popular series Love Story, Carolyn Bessette Kennedy looks incredibly chic in her 90s minimalist outfits, taking casual drags from her cigarettes. You get the point? The TV show talks about the 90s. It's an era of the 90s when Catherine Bessette Kennedy is smoking on a Virginia Slims. And that's where all the TV shows are. Matty O says, can we go back to toad licking? No. That is gross. And it almost crosses the line into, like, pet cruelty. I don't think anybody should do that. Leisure suits. No. Absolutely not, 25th. We will not have leisure suits. That can never come back. I'm still trying to get over, like, the Russian Adidas, tracksuit look. I'm still trying to get over that. Which, by the way, I did rock for a little while in the 90s. I was big on it. The only thing to come out of the 80s was the 90s, Matteo says. 25th says we're going to bring back parachute pants. That might be a thing. It could happen. It could happen. But that's where we are. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. The kids have gotten so desperate, we're back to smoking. And it's not like tobacco has changed. There is no new and approved tobacco. This is going back to the other tobacco, the regular stuff. I just heard recently that alcohol sales are down, that there are more and more kids who are no longer drinking. I really believe it's because of the price of alcohol that has skyrocketed, and people don't see it as sort of a necessary expense. So, if they're not alcoholics, like if they're not, one of those people who need alcohol, they will decide not to do it at all. But, of course, much of that alcohol has been replaced with THC. A lot of them are vaping, marijuana, or THC for that matter. But that's what they're doing now. So alcohol no longer necessary. It would only double the intoxication. Vaping is fine for these kids. But that's what, with alcohol going out, cigarette smoke now coming back in. So it's a scary place that we're in, but that's where we are, folks. Yeah, we're back. Smoking. Marlboro, Newport, Pall Mall. What is the other one? Lucky Strike. Yeah, there's another one. And by the way, every one of those I've tried at least once. Camel, no filters. I've tried them all. At least once. Cool Filter Kings. That was my first cigarette. 13 years old. I was sitting on a stoop at my friend Jamie Montgomery's house, and I took the cigarette from his brother, Jimmy. And I inhaled it once, and I thought I was spinning. I was dizzy. I was going to throw up. And then did it for 30 years. Chasing that same high. I'm so glad I quit. Good luck out there, folks. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Yeah, that smoking thing today is really, really crazy. who wrote this? Joseph? Joseph wrote, my AI assistant just informed me that a pack of standard Marlboro Reds in New York City is $18. I mean, that's a lot of money for cigarettes. That's almost a 20 spot. Crack may be cheaper. Wait a minute, Roland tells me they don't sell $5 crack anymore. Has the price gone up? Is it more expensive now? What's the going rate of crack now? Do they not sell $5 jums anymore?
I think it's $10.
$10, okay. Yeah. Inflationary cost.
Yeah, inflationary. They doubled the price.
I could totally understand that. Actually, it's a nice.
From what I hear.
Yeah, what do you know? You wouldn't know. That's not your. What is your drug of choice, as we say? Yeah. You was like they can sell you bowling packages, but not crack. I remember buying a crack of Marlboro out of a machine for $1 when I was 10, 25 cents. You know what? It's wild, right? Speaking of the whole cigarette thing, I remember everyone has done this. And this goes right back to what I said in the beginning about my grandfather saying there's nothing new under the sun. You folks did not know where I lived. I was on Jamaica Avenue, 191st Street. In fact, when we lived on 195th Street in Woodhull, which is right, it's parallel to Jamaica Avenue in Queens, I would walk to the corner store, which was about 3 corners away. But I would walk to the corner store. By the way, the corner store was in the middle of the block, but yeah, you call it the corner store. And I went there to go pick up a pack of cigarettes, Salem's, for my mom's boyfriend, which eventually would be the father of my youngest siblings. Now, he was my stepdad. Anyway, he would send me out to get a pack of Salem's for him. And at the time, I want to say I was 11, maybe 10. And I would go there and just pick up a pack of cigarettes, and Mr. Lee never batted an eye. Mr. Lee, can I have a pack of Salem's? Here you go, kid. Give him and walk. That man never once thought, yeah, he's going to go smoke a pack. Never thought of it. I remember the first time I went there with a letter, at least the first time, with a letter that said, Mr. Lee, my son's coming out to pick up a pack of cigarettes. Mr. Lee gave them to me, gave me back my change, and I walked home. That was the last time I ever had to show a note. I just show up, Mr. Lee, put them right there, Asian guy. Put them there. You probably knew that. Anyway, he put them right on the counter, and I'd leave. Send them back to my stepfather. That's what it was. I'm sure that every one of you experienced that. Unless, of course, what I'm learning, a lot of you were lying and you were smoking. By the way, I've never in my life, well, actually I have. I'm just realizing there were people who were smoking at 11. I had my first cigarette when I was 13. Now, I say that was my beginning in smoking. I wasn't a regular smoker until I was 19. But I always count 13 was the first time I had a cigarette. I wasn't smoking regularly. If one of my friends had a cigarette when I was 13, maybe 14, maybe 15, I would ask and they would say, hey, you want a cigarette? And I would have one because I knew how to smoke. But I wasn't actively purchasing cigarettes. One, because I couldn't get away with it at 15. I couldn't just show up, but, without the note at 15, because then Mr. Lee would go, there's no way he's buying that for his stepfather. So I never went there. So when I started paying for my own pack of cigarettes, I was smoking when I was 19. But my first cigarette came at 13. Turns out a lot of you were smoking at 11, 12. Regularly. With your T-shirts and a box of Marlboro Reds right up under the thing there. Under a little T-shirt arm. It's weird. Or had one inside your top of your ear. I thought you were the coolest people ever. You didn't take any guff either. You see a young kid, 13 years old, with a cigarette in his mouth, looks like he's on his second divorce. You know who they are. 25 cent. They came with a pack of matches. Sure did. They sure did. Leisure Suit Larry was wild in an inappropriate game. I don't know this game, Kimberly. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. But yeah, people, I remember that. I just remember everybody having a smoke. So I tried to, what was it? What did 25th right here? He says, I tried to smoke my parents' joint about 7. Didn't know how to inhale. Who does? Who does? When was the first time you experimented with a cigarette, Roland? Like just trying it out.
No, I only did it one time.
Right. How old were
13.
you? 13, okay. That's kind of the rite of passage.
That's when my mom was smoking cigarettes.
Okay.
She quit shortly after that, though.
Okay.
Because she started smoking crack,
Did you
but that's a whole nother story. So
you can't just throw that in there. Goodness gracious. We'll address that at another date. Fine. When you smoked the cigarette for the first time.
I coughed and I said, I'll never do this again.
Did you hurl?
And I never did. I didn't throw up.
No.
It was like the last piece of butt she just threw on the ground, and it was still lit.
Okay.
So I
you
grabbed,
snuck it, though.
I snuck it.
Yeah.
I snuck it and smoked it. And I was like, ugh, how does she do this crap? It's disgusting.
You never had a cigarette since.
And I never did it again, no.
See, I wish that would have been the case for me, but I was so attracted to the cool of it all. Now, again, just like this article is saying, right, in the New York Post, about cigarette smoking being cool again because like all the cool girls are doing it. Look, the guys who were smoking when I was growing up, every guy was smoking. Bruce Willis smoked, Clint Eastwood smoked. Yeah, all of the greats held a cigarette in their mouth, dangling, looking cool when they lit it with the, lighting a match with one finger, or using the match and scraping it off their gruff on their face. They look cool. These guys look like they could beat up, 10, 15 men. That was the cool look. Even when he kind of like had the look of, what's his name? Pat Riley, the head coach of the Lakers. That slick back look with smoking the cigarette. And I don't know which was cooler, the yellow filter or the white filter on a cigarette. I don't know, but they all look cool. They just did. 25th Infantry Division Gimlets. My parents smoked in the car. It hurt my eyes. My clothes smelled like an ashtray. I never smoked cigarettes. Totally get that. But everybody I knew who smoked looked cool. The outsiders smoked. Francis Ford Coppola, you know what I'm talking about. People, Fonzie tried to make hey, I don't smoke, I chew gum. You're like, shut up, Fonzie. What's that?
The whole generation of Americans into smokers with their damn subliminal advertising.
Timmy, where's Lassie?
She's out in the orchard, Ma. Peaches are coming in mighty early this year.
Smoke.
You know what they say, Timmy. Early peaches, long summer.
Smoke.
What's that, Lassie?
Are you smoking yet?
That's exactly right. It was everywhere. Let me take Bill in Granby real quick. What's up, Bill?
Hey, Reese, how are you? It's good to hear your voice again.
My pleasure, sir. What's up?
Well, first of all, you forgot James Dean, Steve McQueen.
There you go.
Frank Sinatra, and Dean Martin.
That's right.
Jerry Lewis, all of them, right?
They were hip cats.
Yes, they were the hippest. Absolutely.
Now,
hey, I wanted to close the loop for you on the Granby Hot Mic Board of Education issue.
What do you got? Wait a minute. Now, hold on. That is an important thing. I don't think we're going to have time for that. Can you reach out to me so we can sit and talk about it so we can get to the bottom of it?
Yeah, no worries. Just quickly, one of the Board of Ed members that was on the Hot Mic resigned.
I heard about that. I did. And I want to get to you on that. Do me a favor. Send a text to me real quick so I can get back to you after the show, okay?
Yeah, all right. You're going to have your text. Give me your text number.
Oh, yeah, shoot. You know what? Here's what you do. Go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Okay, when you go to my website, ReeseOnTheRadio.com, click on, just scroll all the way to the bottom, send me a message there with your number so I can holler back.
All right, very good. Will do. Thank you.
You got it, buddy. Let's go to, I'll take Bob. Bob is in Waterbury. What's going on, sir?
Hi, Reese. When I was growing up in Middlebury a long time ago, we moved from Rhode Island when I was about 5 years old. I made friends with the kid down the end of the road, Rich. It was a dead-end road. It was about 12 houses, whatever. But anyhow, about 9 or 10 years old, Rich found a bunch of knew where his father's cigars were.
Oh, wow.
So we're stupid kids. So he took a couple and he put them underneath, like, the first 4 rows of tissues in the bathroom. So long story short, Mrs. Suriel gets sick. She's using all the tissues. Mr. Suriel finds the cigars. They were cigars. He calls up my father. He goes, "Hey, Hank, our boys want to learn how to smoke.
Whoa.
What should we do?" So my father put us in the closet, and they gave us like 3 or 4 Tipperillos. That's what they were, the Tipperillos. And he goes, "When you guys are done that, you can come out." We never smoked. We never smoked again.
He put you in what could only be referred to as a literal hot box. It made you smoke.
Yeah. He goes, "When you guys are done, you guys like smoking those Tipperillos? When you guys are done, you can." And guess what? We're 10 years old. We never smoked again, so that worked out.
You know what? I wish I had one of those stories to tell you, but my story is far worse. I'm going to share that in a little bit. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you, buddy.
Okay, bye-bye.
You got it. Yeah, I've got. You said you got that crack story about your mom. I've got a far worse story than that. I've told it only once. I think I'll share it today as well. Cigarettes were a weird thing to me because, the only time I smoked a lot of different cigarettes was when I didn't have my own. So the first time I ever had a Pall Mall no filter, I should have quit then, but I never smoked that. Like, the person who had that, they were the only person with cigarettes. Never smoked a cigarette again until I got my own. I tried Camel no filters. That was actually only interesting because I had never smoked a cigarette without a filter where half of the tobacco was coming into your mouth. Never, ever did I experience anything worse than that, except for the time I tried to smoke a Virginia Slim, which was like smoking through a straw, a very thin coffee stirrer-like apparatus. It was the worst experience ever. Those, and I can't say I've never had Lucky Stride. I never did. What was that other one? More. Never did that brand. There were a couple of brands that I could think of. Winston's. Oh, I smoked those before. Winston's. Every person I ever knew who smoked a pack of Winston's gambled heavily. Speaking of gambling, when we come back, Roland, I'm doing, reasonably well on this. Hey, I got 6 teams still in the. I got 6 teams still in the. Did it? Oh well, look at me. I'm still in it with 16 left. 6 teams left in the Sweet 16. I can't believe it, and my pick is still looking good. Yeah, they squeaked it. I know they squeaked it out in that game. So anyway, we'll talk about that as well. Stick around. More news, more views. We'll get into the show when we return. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
That was how I explained to my mother that I was smoking when I was smoking Newports. She wasn't doing crack, but I'd found out that she had been doing another illicit drug. And I didn't know exactly how to take it. I was just like, I was trying to tell her that I smoke cigarettes. I was finally going to tell her. I was like, Mom, I smoke cigarettes now. And I was trying to figure it out. And then she literally all but showed me that she was currently using another and I'm not talking about marijuana either. And I looked at her and I went, oh, my goodness. And she was like, what'd you want to tell me? I went, I smoke. Which is my view got me off the hook. I was like, oh, yeah, I smoke cigarettes now. She was like, oh, that's not good for you. You should probably do marijuana. That's what she said. Like I said, my mother's former flower child. What do you expect? Let's go to Lori. Hello, Lori.
Hey there. So first of all, my mind is blown that smoking is cool again. As if we needed more evidence that our world is getting dumber and dumber by the day. But I used to smoke. I started smoking at 18 because all great writers smoked and drank.
Right.
And I wanted to be a great writer. But I was very fortunate. I really believe that this was the grace of God in my life. I never got so addicted to it that I couldn't put it down. And I ended up being more of a stress smoker. So during super, super stressful times in my life, I would pick up a pack. But the last cigarette I had was in August of 2013.
Wow.
And I haven't picked up another pack since.
You know, it's so wild. Was it Peter Jennings who had quit and then admitted after September 11th he had become so stressed he picked it up again, which ended up being how he believes how he got his cancer diagnosis. Which my deal was, the cigarette stress thing. I didn't realize that it was that real. Like, I had to keep asking myself, am I ever going to go back to cigarettes? The only reason why, Lori, I know I'm recovered is this reason. One, I know it took me 2 years to recover because in those 2 years when I quit, I would still get this little weird tinging or like feeling in my lymph nodes whenever I smelled cigarette smoke. Like it was sort of calling me, going, come on, you know you want this nicotine. For 2 years. Yeah. And after 2 years, I didn't get it. How did I realize? Roseanne was smoking around me. She just recently quit. She was smoking around me, and one day it just didn't bother me. It annoyed me. I was just going, nah, don't want to be around the smoke, and walked away. Did not even get sort of a want or desire to pick up a cigarette, and haven't been that way since. For the last 3 years, nowhere near. You could smoke around me. I've been in bars where everybody's smoking, in places where they do allow you to smoke indoors, or like the casinos. Don't flinch. Weird.
That's excellent. Well, I used to smoke Marlboro Light 100s because if I was going to pay for cigarettes, I was going to get the whole much for my money as I possibly could.
You smoke Marlboro what? Ultralights?
No, just Marlboro Light.
Oh, okay, because I smoked ultralights for a little while till my friends responded to, you just bought a pack of air.
You're not wrong. But I remember being a little shocked when I was watching Stand By Me and River Phoenix and Corey Feldman and I think Jerry O'Connell were all smoking in the movie.
I know!
And I remember thinking like, wow, it's okay. So, it was just intrinsic in our culture at that time. And I feel like it was the mid to late 80s when smoking was really we were told that it was terrible for you.
Yeah.
And that's when everybody stopped.
Yeah, the phasing out. Exactly. We had to deal with that. Do you remember the 90s where we had to deal with the commercial with the guy who he had the little vibrator on his throat? It was an old Spanish guy. The thing that used to make me laugh about that, not his condition, but would make me laugh is that they kept doing these commercials about him talking about the different things that he can't do anymore. It was like every ad was like, I used to go swimming, but now I can't swim anymore. And then the next thing was like, I used to go bike riding. I was like, is there anything this guy can do? Just give him something to do. Just give him anything. But yeah, it was that ad used to drive me nuts because I would always wonder, is the next campaign going to be like, I used to be a mountain climber? I'm like, no.
Well, I don't understand, like, why, and of course it's girls doing it. I'm telling you, women are ruining the world.
They're the gateway. They are the gateway drug.
Oh my gosh, what is happening? We used to be smart. What happened?
Again, it's funny, but it's true. I think that's what.
I'm not. Well, and so I'm sorry. I'm not trying to get on the white Mike bandwagon on this kind of stuff because I do still believe that there are. I'm just praying that the crazy ones don't make all of us look bad.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. You don't want the lunatics to take over the asylum. We got to push back on that. I don't think that I don't think there's going to be a successful campaign, but I just thought it was interesting that it was in there. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one. Yeah, it's just they're bringing it back. I don't really think it's going to take. I don't think people are thinking about grabbing onto the idea of, lung cancer. That doesn't look sexy. Let's get to the top of the hour news. John Silver's here. He's in the WTIC newsroom. It's Reese on the radio.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
All right, this was a weird story that we ended up with over the weekend because of Fox News Digital. And many of you were talking about it over the weekend because it was just absolutely insane that we would get an emergency session to protect $100 of redeemables. And the way that the legislature in Connecticut chose to deal with that was to tell people, you want $100 in 10-cent redeemables, you've got to show an ID. And no one saw the irony in that. Like, not one person saw that and said, yeah, we're going to get our butt kicked over this. Now, I know no one in the mainstream media is even talking about it, other than the fact that, of course, it was on Fox News Digital, but no one's stopping any of the left's ongoing pursuit to allow illegals to vote in our elections, or people to vote in our elections who shouldn't, like voting for grandma or grandpa, or deceased people. But the fact that they would allow this, and again, no one in the news media is attacking it. There was one report about it. I saw it in the CT Capitol report. But the fact that there's nobody in the news media here asking about it, or no one has stopped someone and said, hey, didn't you vote for this? You guys made a big deal out of 10-cent deposits, which you knew that when you raised the amount of money people could get from these deposits, that it was going to attract people from Massachusetts and New York to come into Connecticut to make double what they were getting in their own states. You knew that was going to happen. And to remedy it, the first thing you ran to was photo ID. And I saw that. As soon as I saw the story, I went, no way. No way. And this is one of those things where people said, call your local congressman. No. Stop wasting your time on that one. Call your local media outlets. You have to. You have to. You have to make it clear that this was a vote that happened in an emergency session, and that Democrats in this state who are opposed to voter ID in this state voted for you to have an ID to refund bottles and cans. To make this story far worse, now I want you to think about this. There are some people who, let's say, have kids, and they have a lot of these redeemables, right? Kids go through a crap load of soda. Okay, let's say that they do. Suburban families don't, because suburban families really don't like the carbonated soda thing because they know it's amount of sugar. They know, of course, it contributes to obesity, and they live much healthier lives. Okay, fine. But nonetheless, there are some people who will take those and say, hey, you know, my kids go through a lot of these, and maybe once a month I'll grab the recyclables and I'll go down and I'll grab a couple of bucks, or I'll take the kids and whatever it is they get from it, those kids can, you know, here, some allowance money, so to speak. Some families do that. I know I did with mine. But let's be honest. Who are the people who are going to be traveling across state lines to get 10 cents as opposed to 5? Huh? Who are those evildoers doing interstate highway robbery to get an extra nickel? Is it the wealthy of us? Is it the well-to-do? No. It's probably the working poor, right? People who need that extra bucks, maybe to pay a light bill, maybe to pay any bill. But it's not going to be the wealthy of us. Not at all. And those who are living in the state of Connecticut, who will probably have the abundance that they're talking about in this legislation, the 1,000 cans to make $100, who are those people going to be here in the state? Huh? Probably the poorest. Right? I've seen them. I was down in Seatown in New Britain, right around the corner from the police station, that new fancy building. Who did I see there putting in their redeemables? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought half of them were homeless. Well, they looked like they had 1 foot in the halfway house, but nonetheless, those folks didn't look very wealthy. I didn't see any Chanel pants. I didn't see any Ray-Ban sunglasses. No. So think about that. The person who's going to be walking up with 1,000 cans is probably one of the poorest people in the world. And what does the left tell us about voter ID? Who are the people that law is going to disenfranchise? The poor. So if I'm to take their word for it, those same poor people who are not going to get identification to vote are now not going to be able to redeem bottles and cans. That sounds cruel, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound crazy? That the party of the welfare state would make the poorest amongst us jump through hurdles for nickels and dimes? How do you not call your local news networks and say, hey, with all due respect, Hearst Media, News Channel 8, Fox 61, how are you guys not covering this? It's an interesting story. Don't you think that someone should answer for this? Don't you think someone should be able to explain to the rest of us how the two can coexist? The poor can't vote and the poor can't get a nickel and dime on a redeemable. Clearly, I mean, I'm just saying, by their estimation, the poor people who would have to show ID to get $100 on redeemable cans, because you know that that's what those folks are doing. They're not, maybe some of them are picking up enough for get $20 here or $30 there, but the guys who really, really kind of make a living off of these deposits, the ones who go searching in garbage cans, yeah. The ones who got the shopping carts filled, yeah. You're telling me that the Democrat Party here in this state, the ones that will give you millions of dollars to fund anything for free, is now putting a barrier between $100 in redeemables and those who would benefit from them? That sounds crazy to me. Yes. Matty O says, how are black people supposed to return bottles? if you don't have ID, that's what they tell us. Black folks don't have ID. They can't get them. They live in areas where they can't make it to the Department of Motor Vehicles. Talk about disenfranchisement. But these guys, again, how is this not a story? Even one to laugh at, to say to Democrats in the state, who came up with this boneheaded idea? You couldn't look more flat-footed. It's just, again, it's insanity. As soon as I saw the story, I went, what? Wait, what? How did I miss this? And again, not even having to cover it. As soon as I saw the headline, I went, what? I said it to Roseanne today. I said, Roseanne, did you know this story? She was, wait, what? She had to take a double take. It was like, what? It's not like we all don't know what's going on with the voter ID thing. It's not like we all don't know what's going on, especially here in Connecticut. Blumenthal, Senator Blumenthal, and Senator Chris Murphy. We know where they stand. They just voted it down. They voted down even having a discussion on voter ID. How do you not look at them and go, hey, in your own state, they voted for ID to return bottles and cans, dude. Bottles and cans. And it gets a blip everywhere on one of the biggest political debates of the month. Right now, there are discussions on Capitol Hill. With all of the palace intrigue, as it were, on the Save America Act, not one person said, well, here's an angle I can go on. So if I were you, and I think you should join in the efforts, you should be contacting your local media, every one of them, and saying, how are you missing this? This is a huge story. How are we not getting statements from elected officials here? How are we not hearing from Ned Lamont? After what we heard, his point of view was on the Wanda Pataki issue in Bridgeport. How are these people not asked about it? And they can all think that, well, it's a silly. No, it's not. It isn't a silly conversation. It's a serious conversation. But just because it's a serious conversation, it doesn't mean that we can't make fun of it. And I think we should. Let me see. Yeah, we can.
It's the one and only Reese on the radio with topical tunes.
On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Pull up to the spot with a trunk full of cans. Bag dragging like I robbed a couple trash cans. Lady at the window, sir, I need some ID. I'm like, it's just 10 cents, you don't trust me. You counting on my bottles like I'm moving weight. Got 3 forms of proof just to clean your gate. 100 cans or more, show your license on time. Guess my nickels and dimes worth more than my vote line. They say my can's worth more than my ballot. 10 cents shining like a Goldfield chalice. Show ID for the soda, but not for the sign. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. They got that nickel like it's Fort Knox solid. But anybody, any nigga still drop a ballot. If cash in a card is a hill they'll climb, then my vote ain't worth a dime. Oh yeah. Down at the school where we stand in that row, sticker on my shirt, I voted old glow. Asked the man in charge, you need my license too. He say, nah, grab a pen, we believe in you. So I'm trusted for the leader of the whole blue sky, but not trusted with a bag full of cherry cola high. Lawmakers in a circle say it's just our design. $100 in recyclables beats a ballot every time. Worth more than my ballot. 10 cents shining like a Goldfield chalice. Show ID for the soda, but not for the sign. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. They got that nickel like it's Fort Knox solid. But anybody, any nigga still drop a ballot. If cash in a card is the hill they'll climb, then my vote ain't worth a dime. Hey, got my license for the cans, passport for the glass, bursar for the bottle, social for the trash. They say protect the money, every cent, every time. I say protect the power, that's the real bottom line. So bring my bags, bring my lap, bring my ID card, and bring my questions for the folks up in that state yard. If 10 cents makes you careful while you watch every line, why my vote treated cheaper than a soda machine sign? They say my can's worth more than my ballot. 10 cents shining like a Goldfield chalice. Show ID for the soda, but not for the sign. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. They got a nickel like it's Fort Knox solid. But anybody, any nigga still drop a ballot. If cash in a card is the hill they'll climb, then my vote ain't worth a dime. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime.
That's right. Your vote ain't worth a dime, Connecticut. Reese on the radio, records and tapes. You like that? Look at that. Look at that. The kid's a genius. We will have that posted on YouTube as soon as possible. I'll also make it available on Facebook as well. My vote ain't worth a dime. Yeah, he did not, though. I know. I heard it twice, and he doesn't say that. Awesome. Grammy worthy. Who's this person who wrote that? Oh, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Robert A says, Grammy worthy. Lori says, oh my God, that song is awesome. Thank you. But if you redeem more than 1,000 cans a day, it contradicts the apparent law that you're not allowed to redeem more than 240 cans a day. That is posted at every store at a bottle redemption center. Great point. Great point. So, yeah. Again, this is my point, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Again, I will tell you this. It goes without saying. It's absolutely obvious. The reason why the news media is not covering it is because they know it looks ridiculous. Okay? This is an embarrassment. But they should be fair-handed here. They should tell everybody, look, this is nonsense. It would cause everyone to look at them and go, all right, folks, like the jig is up. Enough with the contradictions and the playing around. So, Carmela says it was great. Will married women need a passport? Okay, Carmela, I'm sorry. I'm giving you a round of applause for that one. Carmela says, will married women need a passport to return cans? That's so true. So, okay, I know that this wasn't lost on anyone. I get it. I'm so happy to, because I said we have to poke a little fun at it because the absurdity is evident in all of this. During this election, I'll bring my bottles and cans instead of my ID, Sparky says. Good point. Yeah, exactly. Melody says, love the song, just incredulous this situation has to be made fun of. Yeah, that's why, I mean, it's the reason why I did it. So, thank you. I appreciate all of everybody who said something. We'll play it again later on in the song. In the next half, we'll get into your phone calls if you want to call in. Hit me up on the phones, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Also coming up, we've got another welfare program that Connecticut is considering. This time, it's in transportation. And the numbers, again, don't add up. And it's so indicative of where we are as a state. But like I said, we're not going to just sit here and complain. We're going to get to the bottom of this as well. Stupidest thing I've read today also in the works. And this story is important. I want to get in this at the 4 o'clock hour. By the way, before I even get to that, because I want to make sure, because I just got note of this. We are trying to get Deborah Stevenson back on the show today, if not tomorrow. You might remember her as the guest who was here about a week or so ago talking about homeschooling. She is a constitutional attorney, and she has been a strong advocate protecting homeschooling parents. Well, I heard that she had a meeting with Governor Lamont today and some other folks. She is still in those meetings. If she can't get here today, we're working on getting her here tomorrow to find out what's going on there. Like I said, that woman, thank God she came here, but she has been working diligently for homeschooling moms and against that bill. So we will get a word from her very, very soon to at least get how far she's gotten, if anywhere, with the governor. So we'll have that for you as well. That being said, when we come back in a little bit, wrongful detentions of U.S. citizens by ICE. I want to talk a little bit about that because that's been sort of ballyhooed about for a while. I've got a statistic that people are ignoring that needs to be recognized. So stand by for that. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming. News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Of course, I wasn't ready. Just trying to give her messing it up. My good friend Dana sent me. She says, "Did you say ballyhoo?" Laugh out loud. Yes, I do. I use that word. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm an old soul. Anyway, Dana writes to me, "I got you a new listener today. Her name is Abby. I'm doing an event with her." For the Gary Sinise Foundation. Of course, you know him, Lieutenant Dan and the Lieutenant Dan Band. They raise money for veterans. She might be a cool person to have on the show. We'd love to have Abby on the show, of course, without a doubt, especially if it's a gateway to get Gary Sinise in here. Just saying. But no, nonetheless, of course, Dana, all you have to do is ask. We'd love to have her here. And what the Gary Sinise and his foundation have been doing is absolutely awesome. So if they are interested in being on this program, open invitation whenever they like. So please come on down so folks can learn about what Gary Sinise is doing. And he's got, I don't know anybody under the sun who doesn't know what he's done. Let me get Bob on the line here. He's been on hold for a bit. Sorry to keep you holding there, Bob. What's going on?
I don't know anybody under the sun.
Bob? Bobby?
On the line.
Bobby is not realizing he's on the line, so I can hear myself. That's okay. He walked away from the phone. He was there for a while. He just was. I saw this story, and I said to myself, when are they going to learn? When are they going to learn? We always have to give away a bunch of stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's guilt. Maybe that's what it is about Connecticut. Maybe there is a sense of guilt. And someone is going, you know what? We got all of this money. What are we going to do with all of this money? There's so many poor people out there. Let's just give it away. So now, Connecticut has a proposal for free bus passes for all Connecticut public school students. All of them. Now, we already know that the transportation system in Connecticut is running on empty. It just is. They've tried everything. They build new bus lines or new bus depots, whatever. They've just done everything they could to get people to just take the bus. Why? Because, reduce your carbon footprint, they tell you. But no one is taking the bus. Sure, they are in the cities, but everywhere else when they put a bus line, nothing. No traction. It was Ned Lamont who was poking fun at the new administration, saying that there would be no more transportation funding for your state if you didn't adhere to this, that, and the third. And he mockingly said, so you guys get out there and have more babies. The guy who said he was bringing business in just so they could abort their babies is now mocking those who would choose to have families. Of course, after he's already run them out of the state. But he mocked them. He did. He said that, better get out there and procreate, or we're not going to get any funding. We get a new bridge. He thought it was a joke. So what are they proposing now? Well, the bill is going to cover Connecticut transit and local routes to cut absenteeism. That's the reason why they're going after the kids. And according to the pilot data from 3 cities, it showed a 12% attendance jump. In what? An attendance jump in what? It's very vague to say that. To say that in doing this pilot across 3 parts of the state, by the way, Bridgeport, New Haven, and Hartford, as you can presume, that they say they saw a 12% attendance jump. We looked into that because as soon as I saw it, I went, so are we to believe that the reason why kids weren't going to school was because they couldn't get the bus to school? That seemed odd. They couldn't pay for the bus to go to school? I get it. They can't afford breakfast. They can't afford lunch. And they obviously can't afford transportation. All right. These folks didn't fall into an economic gap, which got them a free bus pass. I remember the bus pass when I was a kid. And based on my mom's economic standing, that's how we got our bus pass. But anyway, here we are. Well, we looked into it, and it turns out that the pilot program is lying. And it is, as always. The so-called pilot program, data claiming that 12% attendance jump from 3 cities, which from what we dug up is mostly around 24 and 25 pilots and advocacy bills like Senate Bill 1243 and House Bill 5382. The strongest cited example seems to be from the Hartford-specific Connecticut Tickets to Opportunity bus pass pilot funded under ARPA. The students use passes for 4,700 rides. Yes, that is solid usage. But that's ridership, not directed to attendance at school. You see how they fudged the numbers? So based on this data, the 12% attendance increase, the attendance is riding the bus is what they're counting, not school attendance. That's how you do the switcheroo, the old shell game. So, of course, what do you think happens when you give bus passes to kids who aren't going to school? They're already cutting. Now, you've given them free transportation to go cut. To go cut class. Now they're going everywhere. There's no guarantee that these kids are going to class. In fact, every bit of the data that's shown here said that it did boost overall ridership. But there's no data that says that the ridership went to schools. Now, either they couldn't gauge it or they didn't bother. Of course, if you give the kid a free bus pass, you can tell a bunch of kids, hey, we have transportation now. Now it costs us nothing. Where kids would usually walk to their destination to go play hooky, now they can get a ride. Because it's all free. Why wouldn't any one of these idiots realize that? Pilots like Hartford were limited to 1 city, short-term grant funded, often without rigorous comparison groups. In essence, similar students without passes. Attendance jumps could stem from other factors like ridership. Lots of the rides didn't guarantee kids made it to school. They say, and according to this, it could be joyrides, could be jobs, could be running errands, even lost or misused passes. So anyway, somebody else could have used the pass. Hartford data focused on usage volume, not verified school arrival, according to those who did the research. Self-selection bias. Students who sign up for the free use passage might already be motivated or organized to inflate apparent gains. No long-term tracking. Short pilots show initial spikes, but sustained effects fade without ongoing support. In other words, it didn't run long enough for them to suggest or to even estimate how well the program was doing. And the cost versus benefit is unproven because there's no scale. ARPA was funding this small-scaling operation. And there were no guarantees based upon what they used. But what they're planning on spending is millions of dollars. Question is will anybody go back and look at the numbers after they've spent the millions? Probably not. Because the results will probably be awful, and nobody wants to be caught with egg on their face. So they've decided to do this, or at least present a bill. We'll see what happens. I don't think that anybody's going to fund this. It could. I mean, I could be wrong here. It's quite possible they'll pass it anyway, but I think they're going to be caught looking stupid, as usual. I thought about this yesterday as well. Something ran through my head, and I said, Connecticut government, I needed an analogy. I'm coming out of my garage after I parked my car, coming from church. And I said, the Connecticut Democrat Party is like a cheating spouse who says that they can solve the problem of cheating by doing more of it. That's what I truly believe of these bozos. They believe they can solve problems in government by adding more government. Think about everything they've done so far, right? They had the pandemic. They had vaccine mandates. They had people who lost their jobs. They had businesses that closed because of government overreach. What does the government decide? Let's have more of it. Let's see if we can pass a bill that would give that power to one singular person and forget about any sort of oversight through committee. Nah, get rid of that. More government. Same thing with the homeschooling issue. Kids die. Kids get trapped in houses for 20 years. DCF drops the ball everywhere. You know what we need? Yeah, more government. No, we don't hold anybody accountable. We don't open up the books and see where we failed. No. Let's throw some more government at it. And here we are. Another classic case. I'm telling you. Like a spouse telling you, I've got to cheat more so we can figure out why I'm having the affair. I'll be back. We'll return. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let's give him a try one more time. Bob is in Hartford. Are you there, buddy?
Yes, I am. You have a great show.
Thank you, sir. What's up?
I'd like to ask you if you can find out some information, because we know for a fact that illegals got driver's licenses in Connecticut.
Yes, sir.
They got free health care. They were able to vote. And our two great senators, all they do is talk. They talk about above the law. No one's above the law, but they took an oath in the Senate to uphold the laws. And they let all these illegals cross the border under Biden. Where are they now? Why aren't they finding out who got driver's licenses and free medical in Connecticut? Where are these guys?
Yeah, well, listen, most of these guys didn't do anything but aid and abet in all of that, especially the illegals getting Medicaid and getting health care benefits. They aided and abetted in all of that. Well, they tried to gaslight us into believing, oh, no, that's not happening here. I've seen these people show up at the press conferences, and I've seen the NGOs who have privately and openly said to me, yes, we know, or yes, indeed, they are getting this money. It's incredible what's going on. You're right. I just actually got word. I don't know if you heard about this, Bob. Did you hear this story about Chris Murphy is not residing in his homes here in Connecticut that he's renting them out?
Well, Chris Murphy couldn't even get a job in the circus as a clown. The guy is bizarre.
I'm going to look into this story to find out if any of it is true. But according to several documents that people are posting online, there's an allegation that he isn't even living in the state. He's got 2 homes that they allege he is renting out, and he is not currently residing in. So,
well, one last thing. Yeah. Let all the sheep in Connecticut know if you could find out how much money was spent on illegal health care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need to find that out because we know over $640 million was on education. Is that wild? Is that wild?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you, man. So glad you got through. When we come back, 2 stories I found that were very interesting. One out of Stamford that I want your opinion on. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. And it's a question of whether or not AI, artificial intelligence, might be going too far. I use it. A lot of people have used it. Many people like it. Many people stay away from it. Roland, you won't go near the AI, will you? You stay as far away from that stuff as you can, right? AI, artificial, like the chat GPTs and all that grok stuff.
Well, I mess around a little bit, but I don't like go do anything in debt to it.
Yeah, like you just kind of use it as a tool, like a Google thing? Do you use it like that? Okay. Yeah, that's kind of my space. Talk about an oldie but goodie.
MySpace.
I know. I was going really old there. That's kind of where my space is. I kind of deal with AI in that regard. And it's fun. I'll admit it's fun, and I challenge myself with it. But could you, because you and I talked about it at length, because of me, about AI and the Tesla cars, right? You are very apprehensive on this. But what about the other side of AI? Okay, I'm just going to give you a tease. So you are apprehensive about AI being used to drive cars. But would you be okay with AI being used on traffic?
As far as like lights and stuff?
Exactly. Dealing with lights? Yeah. I have got a great story out of Stafford.
Oh, man.
That talks about this. And they are going to use it. Again, it's another pilot. But I'm like you on this one. This is where, even though I love the Tesla and I've sat and I drove in it, so I needed to experience it in order to have my opinion. This one, I'm on the outside because I know that I can't really experience it unless I'm there. But when we break it down, when we come back,
that could get crazy.
That could get crazy, right? Speaking of which, let's get to our first check of traffic. Mark Christopher is here. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Mark, Stamford, AI traffic.
Traffic lights?
Yes. Did you hear this story?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just hearing it now, but
stay tuned because I got a whole story about it. NBC Connecticut did a little feature on it.
Oh, boy.
And it talks about where it's going to be and how long it's going to run, but it's a great story.
And then when China disrupts everything, what happens then? See what I like now, the traffic lights now, they have conflict monitors, so if both sides are green, it automatically goes to flashing.
Yes.
I don't know. Do we get that with AI?
I'll explain. It goes a little in-depth.
I'm a little hesitant there.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yep, we got Stupidest Thing I Read Today coming up, music news. We also got some interesting information about everyone's favorite Democrat. And I'm sure you guys know who we're talking about. You have to, right?
Everybody hates Chris.
That's right. Good old Chris Murphy. He is back in the news. He was on the weekend shows. We'll talk about him. So stand by for that. I thought you'd like that, Roland. Everybody hates Chris. That's his name. Also, right after this, we will talk about Stamford, Connecticut. Traffic signals. AI. What they plan on doing. Will it work? Your opinion. If you're in the Stafford area, they haven't decided where it's going to be, but it's a serious amount of where this AI technology is going to be. So I'm very much interested in your opinion on that. And then I want to talk about the wrongful detentions argument that has been made about ICE, as that argument rages on from everybody and their mother. Because I don't understand why no one's made a particular argument as a counter argument to this. U.S. citizens are getting detained. They're getting caught up in this. I went to look at the numbers. There's something here that's got to be pointed out. So we'll get into that as well. And plus, we'll take more of your phone calls and we'll read a lot more of your comments right here on Reese on the Radio. Please, if you haven't checked it out, do me a favor. Just please, if you could, go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. We have added a couple of new things on there. You can get Stupidest Thing I Read Today, which we're uploading all this week. And you get the Substack right there. You get to watch and listen to the program. You can recap the show if you missed it right there. Reese on the Radio's got everything. And the guy who's got everything on the roads is Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, we'll do that. It's back. It's Reese on the Radio. So Stanford has approved a pilot program for AI traffic signals optimization to make traffic easier in the area. Cameras and machine learning will adjust lights in real time at 40 intersections to cut congestion. The 6-month test includes public feedback before possible citywide rollout. The pilot program will take place in the city of Stamford, Connecticut. Given your location, you might see one of these if you're in the area. The exact intersections have not been publicly detailed yet, but the one will probably be near you if you're in the area. There will be available announcements or reports that will tell you pretty much where they are. But they would likely prioritize high congestion corridors based on the city traffic data. That means major arteries, downtown areas, or routes with known bottlenecks. The 6-month test is the core timeline for the pilot itself. There's no precise start date. It's specified in substantive details that, in essence, they don't know exactly when it is. That's what all of this gobbledygook is about. Anyway, cameras will act as eyes, they say. Video feeds from intersections continuously will track vehicle counts, queue lengths, how many cars are backed up, speeds, arrival rates, turning movements, and even pedestrians, bikes, or incidents in real time. No reliance on old loop detectors or fixed schedules. The machine learning is the brain. Algorithms process the data instantly, learn from those patterns, in other words, the rush hour, the surges, the events, or weather impacts, and then predicts short-term flow. It optimizes signal timing on the fly, extending green lights for heavy directions, shortening cycles for light ones, or coordinating green waves across the nearby intersections to keep traffic moving smoothly. They believe that this will reduce stops and delays, often 20 to 40% in similar systems elsewhere. Cuts idling and emissions, they believe, and improves overall throughout human intervention. It's adaptive. It responds to actual conditions versus traditional pre-timed lights that ignore real volume. Roland, what do you think? Doing those things can be helpful. So in essence, it's not, because look, the pre-timed stuff, that's going on what somebody thinks the volume may be. This is actually doing real-time analysis and doing what they're calling green waves. So if there's a lot of backed-up traffic going south and there's minimal going west, what do? Well, you allow all that traffic that's, where the rush is, you allow that to go a little longer, and you kind of hold up the slow stuff. That not good?
Yeah, I mean, all it sounds good in
theory.
That's
all it is. It's theory.
And what are they doing this for 6 months, you said?
Yeah, 6 months is the entire, the entirety of the program to find out. Now, look, this is one of those things. If they believe Stafford has a lot of traffic, which it does, I mean, everybody knows there's a lot of traffic there. There's traffic, especially in the major cities of Stafford in particular. This is a smart idea as far as trying to learn from it. This is what we call means testing, right? So we're spending money to find out, hey, and not only that, don't forget, it also alleviates people's time who are on the roads, who hate the traffic over and over again. Traffic can be the decider on where you live and where you stay, right? Because if you're dealing with traffic that you have to, like if you're spending more time on the road commuting than you do in the home you own, people will move for that reason. They'll move closer to those jobs, or they'll just move to a place where they don't have to commute so much. So this is actually a good job. This is one of the things where I can say the local government is doing something that's helpful.
What is the cost?
Good question. Do not know yet.
just for this 6 month
it doesn't say.
Test,
it does not say. In fact, I will look up and see if there are any cost analysis on this. I thought all of those $30,000 studies were supposed to prove. Yeah, I agree with you, Joseph. My point here is at least this is something that is designed to benefit the people that it represents, right? Because we're looking, I'm not going to lie, nothing irks me more than standing at a light for a considerable amount of time where the perpendicular traffic, there's no one there. You know what I mean? It's like watching someone, as I'm trying to go south, I'm at the light, and that light is short, and we've got backups at least a quarter mile behind me, and everybody's got to race across to get across that intersection. But when you look left, there are only 2, 3, maybe 5 cars waiting for that. So all of us are backed up while these guys are getting. So I would say an AI that would say, hey, 4 or 5 guys who are trying to go westbound, we're going to hold you up until that accumulates to some degree.
They do that on the Berlin Turnpike.
Do they?
Yeah, there's like the Berlin Turnpike lights usually stay green a little bit longer.
Okay, because they know that there's traffic going.
But then there's a buildup on the side streets that's trying to get on.
Gotcha.
And then when that light turns green, a bunch of people just race across. But it's only like 4 or 5 cars that get
through, right?
Yeah, and then it turns red and
now
it's all over again.
Is the Berlin Turnpike place? What town is that in at the Berlin? You talking about Manchester?
No, the Berlin Turnpike is like Berlin, Newington.
Oh, okay. There's a Berlin Turnpike in Manchester, isn't there?
No.
I'm certain
it's a Thailand Turnpike.
No,
in Manchester.
I am positive there's at least a road to Berlin Turnpike. At least it's got to be one in Manchester.
No, not the Berlin Turnpike. The Berlin Turnpike, it's in Berlin.
Yeah.
Starts in Berlin, it goes through Newington and into the Hartford area.
Okay. Lori says that the Berlin Turnpike used to be triggered by speed back in the day. If you exceeded the speed limit, the light would change. Huh. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
They also used to have a Krispy Kreme, but they shut that down.
Lori also says that Stafford has tons of pedestrian traffic that affects the lights. Oh, my goodness. That is, in New York, that's a big deal. I totally get that. By the way, you folks in Stamford, you have no idea what you're dealing with on pedestrian traffic. With all due respect, folks, you know nothing about what it's like to live in New York. Like in the middle of New York City, driving a car with pedestrian traffic and you're trying to make a right turn or a left turn, it is a nightmare. Nightmare. Stamford has tons of pedestrian traffic that affects the traffic lights. My oldest grandson has lived in downtown Stamford for 4 years. First on Washington Avenue, now on Pacific. It's a nightmare to deal with pedestrian traffic. That does hold up a lot. That does. It's Route 15, which goes into East Hartford. Is that what I'm thinking is the Berlin Turnpike? Okay, because I know the exit. Okay, is that what I'm confusing with? Okay. All right, so that makes sense. What is Rude calling about? What do you got, buddy?
Oh, you got me?
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, Chris Murphy hasn't lived in Connecticut since he got elected.
I just literally touched on that because apparently there's some people posting some documentation that both of his properties are rentals now.
But before he even bought those properties, he was criticized about 6-7 years ago. He bought a property in Hartford, I believe.
Okay, yeah.
He was using his father's, and I could be wrong.
Is this this is before, because I know Mark in West Hartford was it last summer? He was making a big to-do about going down to Hartford, making the point that Chris is rarely ever seen there. Like all the people in the towns, they're like, we don't see this guy.
One of your listeners who was a neighbor, he lived in my area in Middlefield, is Scott Wheeler. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, but he uncovered back in like 2015 or 16 that he was registered. Murphy was registered at his father's summer house, which I believe is in Old Saybrook.
I do remember that story.
Right. So he hasn't been in Connecticut since he got elected.
So what was the house that he was filming from? Remember in the early days of him starting to go online about everything, and he was in the kitchen when I was talking about like it looked so empty you could still hear it had been hollowed out? What home was that? Because I
think it was his parents' house, but you could even look up his kids. I don't even think all of his kids were born in Connecticut, but they've been in school in D.C. Oh. So he's been a fraud the whole time. Joe from Simsbury lived right around the corner from him in an apartment complex in Southington years ago.
Okay.
He has stories, too. Hey, the other thing is Anastasia Yop still in Connecticut?
To be honest with you, I have no idea. The last I heard from her was right about the time she was going to D.C. for something. She contacted me about being a guest on the show. She was running for something, and that was the last communique I ever had with her. She went to D.C. and never heard back. In fact, I thought she didn't even come back.
So she got married and she had a baby.
Oh.
And, but she's supposedly on the campaign staff of Betsy, whatever.
I know. I heard. Mark in West Hartford sent me that memo today and asked me if I knew about it. Literally, he was the first one to tell me.
She was a slumlord.
I heard
utilities on, and it was reported by what's the station down in New Haven? WTNH or
is it TNH?
They actually reported it. That she cut off the water and electricity on a single mom with children while she was serving on the Board of Education.
I do remember that. We covered it here.
And that she's working for Betsy? Are you kidding me? Are you trying to reelect Lamont on purpose, you people? What?
Provided that Betsy is a front runner, that would be the argument.
I think you're the front runner if you just because I don't get this. I mean, did you see? Oh, I hate it down here because every time the news stations down here pick on Trump, guess who sound bites they use on the local news here? Blumenthal or Murphy? And I'm like, they're
wild.
Both idiots. And I don't know if you noticed, Blumenthal's got a big dome on the back of his head lately. He must be scratching that, trying to figure out how to.
It's an interesting. We were just listening to him at the top of the hour. They were playing a clip from him, and I'm not calling him like Joe Biden, but I can clearly see he's losing a step. I don't think he's going to go. When's he got re-election coming up, if at all?
I mean, how old is he now?
I know that's what Roland just asked me today. Roland said, "How?" I have to look it up. I didn't even bother. But he's getting
not
up
that
there.
Bright to begin with, because I mean, his offspring is a state senator, and
I know. I've been actually trying to I've been trying to holler at him. To be honest with you,
they're both Marines, right? You know what they say about Marines?
They eat crayons.
You know why they only get 5-minute breaks?
No,
because they'd have to be retrained if it was any longer.
That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, his son Matthew. Yes, I know Matthew. I've been reaching out to Matthew to try to get him on, but likelihood seems slim and none. Yeah, but I heard about
shout out.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah,
UConn women, you got to win tonight, and UConn hockey made the Frozen Four tournament, and I love UConn hockey, so let's win. It's about all you have in that state.
Yeah, sure enough, because Lord knows we've been losing minor league hockey teams to Canada.
Who?
We lost the Bridgeport Islanders club, whatever that was, that minor league in Bridgeport. They're out of here. They're going to Canada.
Tage Thompson, who played at UConn, his father was the coach of that team, and they're both a very strong Christian family, and they've gone to Pastor Will's church and spoke at the church and all that. That's sad, but Bridgeport, they're tearing down everything. They lost their baseball team, tore down because they were going to tear down the arena. So,
yeah, I know. And they're talking about trying to build a new one. Isn't there some talk about building a soccer stadium down there?
Yeah, Lamont is trying to pump millions of dollars into a rehabbed property. I think it was one of those chemical sites that they had to clean up.
Yeah.
And pumping in the money to clean the land and give it to a group that wants to bring in a minor league soccer team, which you already have in Hartford.
What? Here's what I'd love to know. Why Bridgeport with soccer? The two could not be the dumbest ideas to ever meld together. It's like sardines and peanut butter. It's Bridgeport. Are these people bugging?
I don't understand it at all, and I don't know why you just don't Reshler Field isn't in great condition. Rehab that.
Yeah.
How about doing something with the Yale's properties? Like,
there you go. There's a start.
Use what you existing have, but they want to spend your money, so they're going to tax you, spend your money.
I know. Blah, blah, blah. I'm literally talking about it just a minute ago.
WTIC down to Florida. How's that?
No shot in hell, but a pretty good proposition. I just think it's too hot down there, Rudy. God bless you.
It's crazy, though, that you could get away with, like, you live in D.C. and you're Connecticut senator. You got a girl running for woman running for governor who's from New York. You got that caller.
She's not. How is she from? Wait. You're talking about Betsy? She's not from New York. She was a lieutenant governor in New York.
Yeah, and she owns like 3 properties in New York. She's not from Connecticut.
God forbid if she owns 3 properties.
You got the guy from Newington last week calling up. He's on the board of Meriden. You got Tim from Wallingford on the board of Hamden. I'm gonna run for office in Connecticut, and I'm not showing up.
Hey, you know what? Listen to me. If you can pull it off, Rudy, then I guess the rest of us will just know the jig is up here. If you can, I would say just do it for giggles, dude.
Wouldn't that be great, Project Veritas? Let's get a guy that lives in Florida that's like semi-retired to run for office in Connecticut, and he just calls it in on Zoom, and he just talks to Reese on the radio afternoon. And that's how
he governs. He governs through the radio station.
Right. Chris Murphy governs through the Sunday talk show.
Yeah, it sure does. We'll get into him in a minute. I got to get into him. But thank you, Rudy. I appreciate you, boss. I'll get into him in a second. Let's get on first check, another check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher's here. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I was wondering, what the heck are we doing? Okay, yeah, there we go. It's time for the stupidest thing I read today.
This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
The stupidest thing I've read today in the small French town of Arcis-sur-Aube, incumbent mayor is running for re-election, and he's running against his far-right candidate. With voters more obsessed about the surreal name matchup of the two individuals than the actual vote, it has created quite a stir. Why, you say? Because if you could believe it, the incumbent mayor of this small French town called Arcis-sur-Aube, the mayor's name is Charles Hittler. 2 T's. Yes, Charles Hittler is running for re-election against the far-right candidate known as Antoine Renault Zelensky, of all names. The quirky coincidence has overshadowed every other issue in the 2,785 resident race. turning a quiet local contest into an international talking point. Hitler remains unfazed, focusing on his record while the world fixates on his last name. By the way, it's Hitler with 2 T's, not 1. The 2 candidates have been fielding questions about World War II claims and things like that. But wait a minute, folks. This gets interesting. It really, really does. The race was decided just yesterday, and Hitler won. Hitler won. That's right. He secured 40.59% of the vote, beating out his opponent, who had just 31.49% of the vote. When they asked Charles Hitler why he kept the last name, he says that his father, when he was younger, tried to have the name changed because he wanted no association with Adolf. But it turned out to be too expensive to get done, so he kept it. Obviously, the name has not hurt Charles in any way because, again, he was reelected 40.59% over 31.49%. To make this even interesting, remember the population is 2,785. The vote count for both of these people in the race was 455 for Hitler and 313 for Zelensky. Hitler, 2 T's. He won. It's just, I knew a kid when I was younger. His name was Adolf. I said, your parents chose that name? They're not even living. Like, he was my little brother's age. He was like, no, they chose. Yeah. Mark Christopher, he's in a BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hitler won re-election today.
No.
Yeah, Charles Hitler.
Oh, Charles Hitler.
Charles Hitler.
But you knew a guy who was named Adolf.
I knew a kid named Adolf. Like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Boy, your parents named you Adolf. They're looking for you to get your you-know-what kicked.
Yeah, in fact, This is wild. I knew a rapper, and you can look this up. Okay. He had a song called Ghetto Girl. It's actually a good record. His name, he was born with the name Adolf, but his rap name was the number 8-off. And his real name was Adolf.
Well, there you go.
He had a song called Ghetto Girl.
Wow.
Really good record. Really good record.
What was the story about with the Ghetto Girl?
The song is about him trying to get with a ghetto girl. And the song is really good. It was one of my favorite songs back in the day. Yep.
Man, I've been always trying to get with a ghetto girl, but it just didn't work out for me because I can't rap. Maybe that's the problem.
That may be a problem.
I said a hip, a hop, a hippie, a hobby. Give me one of those, I get downright choppy.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Sorry about that. I'm actually working on something here for a second. We're trying to get word on, yeah, that's opening day. Okay. We're still trying to work on something with Deborah Stevenson, the lawyer who we're trying to get back on the show. So stand by for that. Chris Murphy coming up, as well as wrongful detentions of U.S. citizens. Also have to get into that. Let's go to Junior in Bristol. What's going on, sir?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Junior?
Talking about, you guys talking about Blumenthal and Murphy?
Yes, Blumenthal and Murphy.
You have another guy. You missed this guy. I don't know what he does in Connecticut, but about 3 or 4 weeks ago, was in Puerto Rico. He was recruiting Puerto Ricans to come to Connecticut.
Who was?
We know the borders are closed, so the only option now is Democrats because the Puerto Ricans to come over Connecticut.
Wait a minute. You had Democrats in Puerto Rico trying to get Puerto Ricans to come to Connecticut?
Exactly.
Do you know who the Democrats? Do you know who the Democrats were?
Well, this was the Governor Lamont.
Well, I know he was in Puerto Rico. He goes to Puerto Rico an awful lot. So you're saying that when Lamont was in Puerto Rico, he was trying to influence Puerto Ricans to come to Connecticut?
Exactly.
Do you know that Connecticut has the largest number per capita of Puerto Ricans than any other state?
I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
they're trying to bring more. They're trying to bring the whole island.
Yeah, well, for obvious reasons. But yeah, absolutely. I looked that up. In fact, we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we are above New Jersey and New York, and I think there's another state that's also there. But Connecticut per capita has more Puerto Ricans than any other state. I was stunned to find out that we had more than New York.
Yeah, don't you think we have enough?
I don't know, but apparently they don't. That's an interesting group of people to bring in.
Well, they can't bring any more through the border, so they have to go to Puerto Rico.
Well, you know what? That's an interesting.
That's Democrats for you.
Yeah, that's Democrats for you. Well, thank you, Junior. I appreciate the update. We'll look into it.
Yeah, have a good day, guys.
Thank you, man. You too. I should have asked him where he was from, but I almost felt like that would have been rude. I mean, clearly he has an accent, but I didn't want to be rude. Speaking of which, let's get to it. So the argument has been made by a lot on the left, especially in national news media, that there are Americans who are being detained in these sweeps with ICE. It has also been said that people who have been interfering with ICE engagement with illegals who have also been swept up. But the bottom line is that they are upset every time you turn around. Well, there was this gay barber, and there was an American mother, and they only grabbed her because she was brown. Yeah, I've heard it all. This person was absolutely about to get amnesty. I've heard it all. This person just overstayed their visa. Yeah, heard it all. And they keep going through these numbers. And I keep hearing them because, again, to go off the beaten path, there's a reason why we remember Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Amadou Diallo. There's a reason why we know these names. Breonna Taylor. There's a reason why we know these names. Why? Because there are few. Right? There are few. If there were thousands, well, hell, if there were hundreds, like let's say 800, like there are in Chicago every year, of murdered black kids, 800 in one sitting. There's too many to keep all the names of. But when it's police brutality, you can remember every name. Why? Because there's few and far between. But just like the case with detentions of American citizens, the number is minimal. We looked. We checked it out. And what I wanted to bounce that off of is the number of people who have been detained who are U.S. citizens or people who are about to adjudicate their stay. Those numbers compared to the number of people who have been deported and then allowed back in by the Biden administration for 4 years, who have committed crimes when they were removed and allowed to come back in, to then commit a heinous crime here another time, thanks to the feckless work of the Biden administration, who opened up the border and let those two numbers, ridiculous. So that dynamic needs to be paid attention to. Think about what I'm saying. If ICE agents are grabbing U.S. citizens, and let's say they're grabbing, according to this number, 170. That's the number. 170 U.S. citizens. Those are the people who have been picked up. According to this data from the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse. They also say that they identified 2,840 citizens as potentially removable, but that spanned from 2002 to 2017. In that group, about 214 were taken into custody. Still only dozens per year on average. Dozens per year on average. In 2025, ProPublica investigated claimed 170 citizens were held against their will in the first 9 months of the second Trump administration. However, this figure includes 130 cases of citizens arrested for allegedly interfering or assaulting officers during raids or protests. That means how many U.S. citizens ended up being detained? Well, 130 taken out of 170 leaves 40. So then we tallied that up with how many people who were non-citizens who had criminal cases in the United States after they were deported and then came back and allowed to stay. That number is a whopping 15,811 who have committed heinous crimes. Serious offenders, 752 people convicted of homicide. 1,600, close to 17, because the number is actual number 1,693 convicted of sexual assault. These individuals already in the U.S. illegally. The two numbers couldn't be more far apart. So when I'm making the argument to a lot of these bozos, I say this, very simple. 40 versus 15,000. That ratio, hands down, you have no argument. 15, we're talking about people who have actually committed crimes. They were caught. These people were caught after they've just committed a crime or they've committed a crime and were supposed to be kicked out of the place. Also had already been kicked out and came in illegally anyway. So we're talking about people who are criminal offenders twice. Kicked out, came back, committed a crime. That number, again, 40. U.S. citizens detained by ICE, 15,000 who are allowed to go back in. That's insane. The number's crazy. How do you not make that? It is worth it. I'm sorry. If you got picked up by ICE and you're an American citizen and you ended up being a 40, hey, man, too bad, so sad. It's not enough. It's not enough. If they were grabbing them up by the hundreds, hell, even the thousands, I would say, damn, ICE is screwing up. But this is the percentage? This is the percentage? Pulling out 15,811 people with sexual assault charges? 13,099 with criminal homicide convictions? And you're going to tell me 40 people is who we're supposed to focus on? At least we can count the 40. We have countless other folks here. Federal recidivism after removal. According to the GAO, between fiscal year 2011 to 2016, folks, 5 years, of 157,400 criminal non-citizens removed after serving federal prison time. 19,300 were later reincarcerated in federal prison for new crimes under the Obama administration. 40? 140 people. No, sorry, 130 people. Were people interfering with ICE engagement with illegals. And out of that, 40, 1 year, 40 U.S. citizens. There are thousands of agents all across the country. Do you understand that? That is less than one U.S. citizen per state. How do you not make that argument? How do you not kill in that argument? When somebody comes up to you and says, but they're arrested American citizens, worth it. If they're a U.S. citizen, we should be able to work this out. I'm sure they got all the paperwork, but you're not sitting up here and telling me that we have to stop the whole force for these 40 people, right? And then, on the opposite side of that, you're telling me that I'm supposed to put more attention on them than we do this poor young woman, the Loyola College girl that just got murdered, shot and killed? That we're supposed to ignore Nungary? We're supposed to ignore all of these angel moms? How many? I'm pretty sure the number's higher than 40. How many illegals have killed Americans in this country? Compared to 2, what would you rather have? Because that's what I would tell them. What would you rather have? American citizens wrongly detained by ICE? Or some savage killing your loved one? Predominantly women. Make a choice. You got to give one up. What are you going to give up? Sorry. Let me tell you, just in case you didn't know what my answer was. Hello. If you got locked up and you're an American citizen by ICE, hey, can't wait till you get home. Good luck to you. I'm sorry. I hate to laugh, but no. I'm not pulling any punches. The numbers are ridiculous, and I'm watching it every day because we should be seeing, if this is rampant, right? If this is rampant, we should be seeing this everywhere, shouldn't we? There should be another person on NBC News. He was horrible. They dragged me out of my house. I've been here since I was a child. It's awful what they've done to me. I'm American. Been here all my life. Only home I know. We should hear that story every day. But we don't. These people are anonymous. We barely get a picture. Sure, we might get, the 5-year-old Liam. Turns out his story was completely bogus. Hell, we covered Elian Gonzalez more than we covered little Liam. And the funny part is, Elian didn't belong here. At least Liam did. It was wild, that Elian Gonzalez thing. I still remember that. It's the crazy part about that is, you know what it is? The father was in Cuba and wanted Elian to come back because he wanted his son. His mother died on an inner tube. And still, they thought, Pop, I know the only father he's known, he can't have him back. Let's leave him with the second cousin. You people are crazy. It's hard not to laugh at you folks. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Another hour. We'll wrap it all up. Mark Christopher, he's there. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
All right, plenty of news and plenty of views coming up in a minute, but you know what time it is. News. News. Damian Albarn is one of the, let's just say, he's one of the members of the group Gorillaz, and I actually like this band, but I have no idea which one Damon is. They have a lot of great hits that I enjoy. But anyway, he turns 58 today. Marty Pello from the group Wet, 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 born in 1965, turns 61. They are the Scottish soul pop. He's the Scottish soul pop voice behind the global ballad Love Is All Around from 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Sold over 10 million copies. And congratulations to a legend, none only as Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan turned 73. The Queen of Funk. She's with the group Rufus. I Feel For You. One of my favorite songs. Anyway, also, 70 years ago, Elvis Presley's self-titled debut came out in 1956. The King's RCA debut, featuring blue suede shoes, became the first rock and roll LP to hit number 1 on the Billboard Top 200. 47 years ago, Van Halen 2 dropped in 1979. The sophomore set, which has Danced the Night Away. We were just talking about them last week. 34 years ago, Billy Ray Cyrus. His Achy Breaky Heart was released in 1992. Still hate that record. 30 years ago, Celine Dion, Because You Love Me, my wife loves that song, was number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100s. And 22 years ago, I'm not going to lie, folks, as much as I wanted to dislike and despise this album, but it was by far the best work ever done by an R&B singer and defined the genre. I have to give it up for Confessions by Usher 22 years ago. The diamond-selling R&B blockbuster sold over 10 million copies. That record was huge. That whole album was huge. And I remember it because I was right here in Connecticut. I was over at the now defunct power station that was supposed to be up against the hot, our folks here, Hot 93.7, but we were over there. We couldn't stop playing the Confessions album by Usher. It was the biggest record on the planet at the time. Mark Christopher knows. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we are back. I'll take Tom real quick. How you doing, Tom? What's going on with you, buddy?
Hey, I'm well. Hey, Reese, I would rather have 100 American citizens or legal citizens stuck in a jail cell for a few hours because of illegal aliens than to have one American citizen dead in the grave for the rest of their lives because of an illegal alien.
Absolutely. The two do not. And it's funny because they have been allowed for the past, year to make this false comparison, this ridiculous comparison about the number of people who have been locked up by ICE, totally missing the fact that, again, a majority, from what we're seeing, out of 170 people who were detained, 130 of them were people interfering with a police action.
Yeah, it bothers me. The left wants everything to be 100%.
Yeah.
Correct and accurate. Nothing in life is like there's mistakes made all the time, and if it's that egregious, then there should be a legal or a monetary way to rebut it. But
absolutely,
it's a false comparison. It really bothers me.
Yeah, it should. You know what? Hold on, though, Tom. It should bother you. Let me tell you why it should bother you. Right? Because again, the counter to this debate, right? Being detained versus being dead, right? Because again, at least with the American citizen detained by ICE, there's a recourse, right? There's actually something, an apparatus there that will help that particular individual get out of incarceration and get them back home. Where the stranger who is walking down the street, who has no idea who is following them, or actually they're sharing the road or the street or a nightclub or whatever, they've got nothing. They've got no way.
Nothing. They're totally vulnerable. Was that girl? Was that in Chicago? That girl that just got
yes, it was.
Killed?
Yes, it was.
Was it near where Pritzker made that video where he was completely out of breath?
Oh yeah, where he was walking. I do not know, but I think I was watching it on the news a little while ago. They had actually posted that video on Fox, and I'm assuming someone's making a connection that wherever he was walking, I'm sure he had detailed security around him saying that, while he's out here huffing, about how safe it is in Chicago, the backdrop, he's got this young woman who was murdered, shot and killed.
Right, yeah, he could be walking, in the worst street in America, and he'd be safe because of his health.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just so nuts. And then the other thing, Reese, it is so unfair for people to think that there's any comparison between getting an identification.
Oh, yeah. To vote versus the cans.
Vote, yeah, and the. Come on.
No, listen, this is the whole point. There are a million different ways you can tell this story. In fact, I can come up with a way for every news media outlet to take an angle on that disparity, like on the duality of that nonsense.
Yeah, it's such hypocrisy. It's incredible.
Again, and that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you look? Even Dan Haar had the audacity to push back on Democrats about the homeschooling bill. Even he said that at the end of the day, they're going to have to scale it back because it's an overreach. Now, if Dan Haar, who can't stand Republicans and can't stand MAGA, even he can say to Democrats, you need to. The fact that no one else is seeing this with the redeemables and looking at the voter ID law, because I know what the problem is. They don't want to bring attention to it because they know it's a losing argument.
Yeah, don't the Democratic legislature know that the newly married women in Connecticut will now not be able to turn in their empty cans? It's a travesty, Reese. It's a travesty.
100% right. Tom, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You got it. Hell, what the hell? Since he brought it up, we might as well play it again. You can find it now on Reese on the Radio Records and Tapes. Go to YouTube so you can check it out.
It's the one and only Reese on the Radio with topical tunes.
On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
I can't even find the darn song. There it is.
Yeah. Pull up to the spot with a trunk full of cans. Bag dragging like I robbed a couple trash cans. Lady at the window, sir, I need some ID. I'm like, it's just 10 cents, you don't trust me. You counting on my bottles like I'm moving weight. Got 3 forms of proof just to clean your gate. 100 cans or more, show your license on time. Guess my nickels and dimes worth more than my vote line. They say my can's worth more than my ballot. 10 cents shining like a Goldfield chalice. Show ID for the soda, but not for the sign. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. They got that nickel like it's Fort Knox solid. But anybody, any nigga still drop a ballot. If cash in a card is a hill they'll climb, then my vote ain't worth a dime. Oh yeah. Down at the school where we stand in that row, sticker on my shirt, I voted old glow. Asked the man in charge, you need my license too. He say, nah, grab a pen, we believe in you. So I'm trusted for the leader of the whole blue sky, but not trusted with a bag full of cherry cola high. Lawmakers in a circle say it's just our design. $100 in recyclables beats a ballot every time. More than my ballot. 10 cents shining like a Goldfield chalice. Show ID for the soda, but not for the sign. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. They got that nickel like it's Fort Knox solid. But anybody, any nigga still drop a ballot. If cash in a card is the hill they'll climb, then my vote ain't worth a dime. Hey. Got my license for the cans, passport for the glass, bursar for the bottle, social for the trash. They say protect the money, every cent, every time. I say protect the power, that's the real bottom line. So bring my bags, bring my lap, bring my ID card, and bring my questions for the folks up in that state yard. If 10 cents makes you careful while you watch every line, why my vote treated cheaper than a soda machine sign? They say my can's worth more than my ballot. 10 cents shining like a Goldfield chalice. Show ID for the soda, but not for the sign. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. They got a nickel like it's Fort Knox solid. But anybody, any nigga still drop a ballot. If cash in a card is the hill they'll climb, then my vote ain't worth a dime. Guess my vote ain't worth a dime. My vote ain't worth a dime.
That's right. That's right, Connecticut. Your vote ain't worth a dime. Not here in Connecticut. You can forget about that. Go check it out. You go to Reese on the Radio. In fact, go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Scroll down to Facebook. You can find this. Find my Facebook page. It says there, click there to subscribe. You can go there, find the song. You can go listen to it yourself or download it. I'll make it downloadable soon enough so you can have it. But it's available to you. Let's see if I can get to Phil. He's in Southington. How you doing, Phil?
Oh, not too bad. So you kind of covered the first part of my comment, but the thing the governor and the legislature is doing now sounds very familiar. Like Newman and Kramer are coming up here with a tractor trailer.
They had the mail truck. Yeah, Ryan Fazio did a whole video on that with them.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Ryan Fazio did this whole TikTok video on that about Kramer and what's his name and what's his name? Newman, yeah, coming cross town with that. And it's a crazy, I guess juxtaposition that is it. Here is one of the points where you actually say that art dictates life, in a weird way.
Yeah, but I mean 20, 25 years before.
Yeah, exactly. And almost 30 years, if you think about it. That's insane.
I got another quick question.
Yeah.
Is Murphy still living in his parents' basement, or does he have a residence in Connecticut yet?
I don't know. Everyone's telling me he doesn't live here. Someone just posted documents that he's renting out his places here in Connecticut. So it may very well be he's not here. Lord knows he's never here. When he is, he must be staying in a hotel. Who knows? But I got to talk about it. If you think that's crazy, Phil, did you hear what they're proposing for Chris Murphy or what's being proposed? Apparently, there's a report here I have in my hand. Stay tuned for it because we're going to talk about it in the next break. It is, I'll put it this way. If it happens, we could be seeing a whole lot more of Chris Murphy. I don't know if that's it. For me, it would be great. But for you, not so much.
Hey, the other thing I wanted to bring up, I was in and out of your homeschooling thing the other day.
Yeah.
With they're going to come DCF files if you pull your kids out.
Right. Which in essence, let me put it to you this way. The way that they're framing it is that you get what's called a particular file, right? Your name is added to a file, so to speak, in DCF to find out if you've had any other DCF interactions or police interactions that involve violence or harm to your child. If there's nothing, then they're supposed to just remove you from any docket or any so-called file inside DCF.
Can we expand that to include children that are unfed and they're fed in school? Are the parents visited by DCF as to why those aren't being fed?
Exactly what my argument was when we were talking about the school lunch program.
Missed it. Sorry.
No. Please. I can't expect you to listen every hour of the day. I totally get that. You have a life. But yes, you're 100% right. When we saw that story about them funding or wanting to fund children's breakfast and lunches, I asked the question, okay, so why are we doing that? If there are kids who they believe, according to their own press conference, who their only meal of the day is happening in school, that means when they're out of class, 2:45, 3 o'clock, they don't see another meal until the next day at 6:45, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're led to believe. And there's no DCF on that? You can't feed your kid at home and they're going to... Yes, 18 hours with no food. So
it seems like this is targeted.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to suggest that there aren't kids who aren't getting fed, but I don't think it's as widespread as they're trying to play it off in this press conference. That's the point I'm making.
Nope.
And I definitely don't believe that it's worth this ridiculous tax that they're going to put on 2 cents on every ounce of every sugary soda.
Yeah, and that thing is going to be so widespread and almost unenforceable.
It's going to be
just might as well tax water because there's trace amounts of sugar in it.
Good argument. Yes, stupid thing about it is that who does it tax? It taxes the poor because wealthy kids' parents, or at least well-to-do parents, don't give their kids soda anyway.
Or they have a soda stream at home.
That's correct.
I heard that part.
Yeah. You did hear that. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. You got it. Yeah, all of it. None of it makes sense. But again, this is just one of those things where nobody in Washington is willing to pull up the hood and take a look inside. Right? We just get the press conference. Nobody asks any questions. They just go on about their day. It looks like the cameras are there for B-roll. It's kind of funny. Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated. And thank you, Michael A. Like I said, go to YouTube. You can find it. Just go to Reese on the Radio. Find it on YouTube. And you can check it out there. We'll be back. We got more news and more views. I want to talk about the new role of Chris Murphy. Oh, I pray this doesn't happen. But the Wall Street Journal, are they suggesting it? When we return, Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
All right, we are back. What's going on? Oh, you know what? I tell you exactly what happened. That's what I do for getting stuff behind the background. I always make myself a mess. That's what I do. We'll get to your phone calls in a second. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. I cannot believe that this might happen, folks, but it could. It really, really could. And you guys are not going to be happy about this. So, might as well just get it over with.
Everybody hates Chris.
And to the point, leadership is, of course, leading the charge here. And there's a lot of focus on Chuck Schumer right now. The Wall Street Journal reporting that there's growing frustration with Chuck Schumer, which spurs talk of replacing him. Senator, do you want to replace Leader Chuck Schumer?
Well, I think we are united right now as a caucus. There's always a lot of focus on Senator Schumer and Leader Jeffries. Those are very hard jobs, especially at a historic moment like this.
That's not a yes.
Well, no, we are united as a caucus right now. Let me just be clear about that. We are united in ending this war. We are united in reining in the lawlessness of ICE, and we're going to be united in winning the election this November. So right now we are together as a caucus.
So if you do win the election, would you vote to keep him as leader?
Well, listen, I think he has a very tough job, and right now you are seeing the Democratic caucus united. That's really important.
Of course, that's Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy on Meet the Press. The Wall Street Journal is writing that there was a meeting, and there was a dinner, and there was a discussion that says that our very own Christoph Murphy could possibly be in the running to replace Chuck Schumer as Senate Minority Leader. And if they do lose, they will replace him. If they win, but they don't believe they're going to, but nonetheless, they are going to get rid of Chuck Schumer. And the people in the running, folks, are Chris Murphy, Elizabeth Warren, Tina Smith, and that's it. Chris Murphy is lobbying to be leader of the Democrat Party in the Senate. Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. Absolutely. They're in talks. Wall Street Journal's reporting. They think he's going to do it. He's the front runner. We'll see. I don't know. This is the first time I've ever been anxious for November. Really, I'm looking forward to it now. I don't think they're going to. He's polling at 0, but he's front runner. Oh, baby. It might be good. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Talk about a train wreck or a car wreck. Chris Murphy, Senate Minority Leader.
Yeah, that would push things even more to the extreme.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, I want to see it. I just want to see it. It's a train wreck.
Well,
I
for you, man, you talk about your show prep. If he gets he gets that position, your show prep is right there every day.
Every day.
You wouldn't have to look far for topics.
I would wake up in the morning. Chris Murphy, where is he?
What did he say? What did he say? And earlier in the show, I wanted to just say that Roland was right. There is no Berlin Turnpike in Manchester.
No, okay. So why
but there is a West Middle Turnpike.
Oh,
West Middle Turnpike is
Middle
Manchester.
Turnpike.
Berlin Turnpike runs from the Hartford-Wethersfield line down into Meriden, down by the 691 interchange.
I haven't been by there in a long time, so that was Middle Turnpike. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're about to get up out of here. By the way, thank you, everybody, for sending all of your well wishes to Roseanne. She is almost at tip-top shape. Almost there. Almost there. Do you know how you can tell when your wife, woman, significant other of the female species is sick? Do you know how you can tell, Roland? There's only one way to tell. You can see it. Like, you could be gone all day. You could leave town, come back into town, and walk in the middle of the day. You can look at your significant other and tell that she is sick because of one thing. Now, I know you ladies, you're probably going to call me up and start yelling at me, but I don't mean it to be disrespectful. It just is. How do you know? Do you know what it is? Tell me the one thing that you can look at your wife and know that she is under the weather. Something about her appearance, you will notice it. What is the thing? Do you know?
Something about her appearance.
Mm-hmm. It's a telltale. Give it away. So obvious. Can't think of it, huh?
No.
Her hair.
Her hair?
It's a mess. Always. Oh. Yep. If she, listen, a woman's hair... Listen, Roseanne will get her hair and brush it and put it in a ponytail to go to the hallway to grab mail. She will fix her hair. When she is not fixing her hair during the day, that's when I know she's sick. Like, she is beyond the pale.
That only works for people that have a lot of hair, though.
Really? Oh, okay. Well, that's true.
There's women that don't have a lot of hair.
Yeah. Well, who's counting them? I'm just saying, if you got an Ayanna Presley hairdo, no, obviously you're not a part of that. You know, on Ayanna Presley, who's a bald head, you see the wrinkles on her scalp. Then she's sick. But a regular woman, an average woman, when she in the house, middle of the day, and her hair is just all over the place, look like, like somebody blow dried it with a hose. Like, that's when you know she's sick. She doesn't even care about her hair, and she's got stuff floating in it or sticking in it. That's when you know. And she has no care about her hair. When a woman is at least, as soon as Roseanne started feeling better, she was in the bathroom working on her hair. I notice it. It's weird. Women do that. Everybody said no makeup. No makeup is a given. Nobody's going to put the makeup on. The obvious one, the hair is everywhere. And it's in positions that you wouldn't imagine, because it's almost like she's got static cling going on with the hair, because it's sitting up. It's like up in the air. It's attracting things in the hallway.
I think that's just you. Your
is not.
It's just your experiences.
Absolutely not true. Women who were sick never do their hair. They wouldn't even bother to put it in a ponytail when they're sick, because they don't even want their scalp being pulled, because they're in pain.
They put a wig on.
What?
Yeah.
No. If they have to go outside, yes.
Yeah, throw a wig on.
Yes, but not no. The hair is the telltale.
I don't know.
Listen to me.
The hair don't tell it for me.
I learned this very early, that women express themselves through their hair, except for Ayanna Presley, who obviously doesn't. But there are women out there who do everything through their hair. They just do. They express themselves. The hair is about when they need a change, when their life is really not going the way they want to. They're always thinking about, it's not so much about dyeing it. It's about getting a perm, maybe trying a new style. It's being a brand new, because that's where they express themselves. Ladies, tell me if I'm crazy here. I'm not.
Wig.
I don't know about this wig thing. Okay. The women I've ever been involved with, there aren't a lot of wig wearers. I understand that that's a cultural thing, but yes, ladies.
It's not a cultural thing anymore.
Oh, just anybody wears a wig?
It's a worldwide thing.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a weave thing.
No. It's
I agree with you, Ned. I would love to ask a woman. You know the number, ladies, 860-522-WTIC. Tell me I'm wrong. Women express themselves through their hair. Break up, hair. You know? Man getting on their nerves? Hair. Man's not paying them attention? Hair. Why? See if they can get attention from another suitor. That's what men do. You know? Cute guy at the office. Hair. How do I know this? I'll never forget it. Courtney, girl I used to work with in New York at the power station there, okay? I'll never forget it. Gorgeous woman, model, former model. She has hair all the way down, literally to her backside. Straight, strawberry blonde, beautiful. Always kept it in a ponytail with a streak going right down her back. Most gorgeous hair I've ever seen. She wore her hair like that every day. Every day. Till one day, we're walking and I look and I go, you ever think about just letting your hair out? 2 days later, walk into the office, hair's out. Now, fast forward a couple of months later, we're having an affair. Anyway. I wasn't always a good guy. Anyway, we're fooling around. First thing she says to me was, I'll never forget it, first day I ever kissed her, she says, do you know why I changed my hairdo? And I went, because I mentioned it. She goes, yeah. That was how I knew that she was interested. Because I said, Ed, you ever wear your hair out? Sure enough, 2 days later, she wore her hair out. She just does. I know this. Call me crazy. Listen, I've been married 4 times. Can somebody give me my props? It's not just because I suck at being in a relationship. I would have never been able to do it 4 times if I'm horrible with understanding women. That's a good point.
6 one way, half a dozen the other.
Fair. Not an argument. Let's go to Jeff. He's in Marlboro. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Reese, how you doing, man?
I'm great, man. What do you got?
So first I want to say one thing, but I got 2 questions. I'm going to make it fast. Right?
Okay.
So one thing, you're right about the hair, but you ought to stop saying that or you're going to be in some deep,
I live on the wild side, Jeff.
Number 2, your website, I keep trying to get on the chat site, and it won't let me log in. There's something wrong there. You got to check that out, man.
Okay, I will. Everybody else seems to be there.
Yeah, I saw people there, but I can't log in. I don't know what it is.
Okay, all right.
I keep clicking on it. The background changes, but I can't log in. Would you please have your people check it out?
I will definitely do that. Anyway, what was number 3?
Number 3, I heard, like a week, maybe week and a half ago, you said you were making new T-shirts, but you did not mention that you were having a Frederick Douglass of the 21st century T-shirt, which is one I would love to have. Are you not making that?
I am now. You know what? I am definitely doing it now. I never thought of it, but now it's happening. And now first thing I do when I get home, I'm going to work on the design.
Okay. Yeah, because I want that, man.
You got it. I will definitely listen to me. That, all you needed to say was, you want that T-shirt? That T-shirt's getting made. In fact, the guy who's going to be making the T-shirts, I'm sure he's listening. So we're going to work on a design literally forthwith. I've already sent him the designs that I want. I will add that one to the list.
I'm going to wear that to work proudly. And when people ask me, I'm going to tell them what it's all about.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Good to hear from you again, Jeff.
Hey, you too, man.
Thank you, man.
Easy.
You got it. Brian's in Bristol. How are you, sir?
Hey, Reese. Got out of work late, so it's in the car.
No problem.
I don't know if you talked about this in the show, but did you see or hear what went on with Senator John Kennedy and Brian Schultz from Hawaii at the end of last week in the Senate?
Was there an exchange on the floor I heard about between the two of them?
What happened is Senator Kennedy put forward a resolution that the Senate not get paid while there was a shutdown.
Yes.
And I'll be kind at first. I'll call him a petulant narcissist, but then I'll call him what I think he is. He's a POS coward. Schatz from Hawaii, who's a libtard. And those of you that are liberal leaning that listen to the show, this is proof that they don't care about you because he raised an objection and then quickly ran out of the chamber.
Yes, I did
so
see
he didn't
that.
have to have discussion. What a cowardly thing to do. I mean, that is so cowardly. It's just so narcissistic. It's just, and it's petulant because he behaved like a 3-year-old child tossing a fish.
You know who does that? Chris Murphy does that to he does that to Ted Cruz. He runs in, he goes, I objected, and he bolts to go out to the cameras.
How cowardly! I mean, what a cowardly act! I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's so ridiculous, and it sets a terrible standard. You know that people can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can't have reasonable discourse in that chamber, what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. Always screaming about decorum, then lacking any.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then poor Senator Kennedy was left dumbfounded, and he asked, can someone reach out and see if he's still in the building and come back so we can have a discussion?
Yeah.
And they told him, well, that's not a legitimate parliamentary inquiry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is bloody ridiculous. I mean, but that does demonstrate, one of the things Senator Kennedy said. He said, look, we make $170,000 a year as senators. We should make enough so that we can miss a couple of paychecks.
Yeah.
And they're going to hold them for us. We're going to get them eventually anyway. It's not like we're not getting paid at all.
Right.
They're going to hold them like they do with these other people. We'll get them back. He said, but I think we should have a shared sacrifice if we're going to shut down the government. And that POS coward ran away and wouldn't have a discussion on it.
And they never.
They don't give a hang about the working people.
They sure enough don't. And this one, by the way, this is already hanging on them so badly because even CNN is admitting Democrats have got to own this one without a doubt. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got it. Let's go to last but not least. Bill is in the house in Rocky Hill. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing? I'm an old white guy talking about the wigs. I wake up the next morning and there's a bunch of Velcro strips on her head. I'm jumping out the window. That's it. I'm done, brother.
I didn't know that they don't do Velcro, do they? They're doing Velcro strips now? That would be insane.
Go to Home Depot. I don't know.
Well,
all right, have a good night.
Bill, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. It's just sad. I don't know the wig thing. I just don't. I don't know if I can. It's just the wig. I've felt a wig before, and it just, I know they have real hair versus synthetic hair, but they're heavy. I just couldn't imagine putting that thing on my head, or anyone having to put one on their head. Yeah, I know. Melody says, yes, hair is important. It is. It's absolutely important. That's what I know. If they're not taking care of their hair, it means that they are sick. It means they would not, because that takes a lot of time and patience. And when your nose is running and you're sneezing and you're coughing, you can't hold a curling iron doing that. You just can't do it. So the hair looks like, it's bedhead all day. And I looked at her and I'm telling you, Roseanne, I love her so much. Her bedhead, still the luckiest man alive every time I see it. I go, well, honey, your hair is everywhere. She goes, I know. And I go, it's okay, baby. You still look beautiful. And she pulls it down. She's always going to be beautiful to me. By the way, this is between us. Don't you ever tell her I told you this. All of you. You understand? This is between us. Do not tell her I said this. You guys can keep a secret, right? All right. I trust you. We got to get out of here. We're working on, obviously we couldn't have her today, but we are going to work on getting Carolyn Stevenson. Oh, Deborah. It's not Carolyn. Deborah Stevenson. We're going to see if we can get in touch with her today or sometime this evening, see if we can get her on the phone, if not here live on the show tomorrow, to talk to her about her meeting with everyone in Hartford today. I know I've got another interview coming up this week, and for the goodness... who is this? Yes, I've got Davey Edwards coming in tomorrow. I'll tell you guys all about that at 4 o'clock. Stand by for that. And hopefully we'll have Deborah Stevenson on as well. So Davey Edwards on at 4, and Deborah Stevenson, hopefully, if not on the phone, we'll probably have her on at 3. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night. Pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here at 2 p.m. Mark Christopher is getting you home now. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Good night, sir.
I am not my head. I am not the same. I am not my head.
There you go. India R.E. She says she is not her hair.
Her hair's nappy. I'm sorry.
All right.
Absolutely.
I ain't going to say anything. I'm just getting out of that. Hey, have a good night, Reese.